Good evening, ladies and gents, ghosts and ghouls alike, and welcome to Book Review. Today we have a very special guest from the land literally down under. Please welcome my honored guest, Skittles.
Yes, hello foolish mortals, it is I, Skittles, of the Skeleton Army, here to rattle your skulls with information of the literary nature.
Today, we delve into one of the less stereotypically spooky titles, 1984 by George Orwell. Not quite published in 1948, this book has earned the title of classic novel over the years, taunting many procrastinating high school students.
Oh actually youth, that is a title I have heard one time too many during my month-long stay with you, mortal.
Yes, well, while you may be delighted to hear that my long hours of reading, ranting, and replaying audiobooks are over, there are some questions that we are going to discuss today in hopes of helping others understand not only what Orwell was trying to convey with this book, but also why it remains relevant more than 30 years after its prophesized date.
Well, let's get started. I'm very busy this time of year, you know.
Quite. Let's start off with something easy that won't divide the crowd. Would you consider Winston, the protagonist of the novel, to be sane or insane?
Winston, insane. Ha 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 ha. Do not make me laugh. As a keeper of the eyes of Big Brother, I can assure you that that man was completely sane at the end of the novel. Did you not read the part where he smiled at the image of Big Brother, free from all distraction? That is a man who has discovered and embraced sanity, the sanity which the party has so graciously gifted him. He no longer has to live a life of misery, wondering what is real and what is not. The party releases this burden from him and answers all the questions he ever needs and tells him which questions do not need answers. Is that not the life of supreme bliss?
Yes, well, how about the beginning of the novel? He was a completely different man then.
The Winston that never existed. The poor soul. I would consider him insane at the beginning of the novel. His gaze was far adrift from the watchful eyes of Big Brother, deluding himself with his own thoughts of individual freedom, of an impossible revolution, memories of a non-existent past, and longing for a woman's company. O'Brien explains it very well in the text.
I see. I, however, must disagree. I believe that it is impossible to say whether or not Winston is truly sane, as it is a matter of perspective. In Winston's perspective, he thinks everyone else is insane and that he is one of the only people that is sane enough to see the truth of the world. Even the dictionary definition from Merriam-Webster can be interpreted differently, depending on who is judging the individual. As readers, we feel that Winston is the most sane character in the novel, since our perception of reality aligns with his most accurately.
I'll send Big Brother your regards.
Thank you. Now, for our second question. Should a government restrict personal freedoms in order to decrease violence and crimes? Where do we draw the line?
When I was still trapped in my meat suit, you would get your head on the stake for going against the monarchy. It definitely crushed the spirit of rebellion in my area. If you control every aspect of the lives of the people, it makes things easier, since there's no need to concern yourself with the wants and needs of the individuals. Everyone is the same.
Yes, but it seems rather tedious to keep track of every individual, making sure that they are always following the rules. It's incredibly inefficient.
I present the opposite situation to you. If there is absolutely no control, the world would devolve into a state of constant chaos. There would be no order, no justice. There needs to be some sort of control to maintain a functioning society.
I agree. However, in order for said society to thrive, there needs to be some room for discourse. If everyone has the same perspective, no new ideas will emerge to improve the world we live in. If there isn't anyone to question the values and ethics we uphold, how will we know that our beliefs are correct, or if they need improving upon in order to move toward a more perfect society?
The development of technology will make the process of control much simpler in time. I promise you that.
Question 3. Is reality objective, existing independently of our beliefs, or is it subjective, depending entirely on our own perspectives and beliefs? Can two people see the same reality? If so, which is the real one?
What?
I'll answer this one so your skull doesn't crack. Reality is a combination of both objective and subjective. Objectivity rules over statements that we are taught to accept from a young age, such as the color of my hoodie, because that is the word assigned to the specific shade our eyes can see. It is accepted as a fact, just like the fact that the Earth is a sphere. Don't. Or that 2 plus 2 equals 4, which we'll cover in a moment. Subjectivity governs more abstract concepts, such as our moral, religious, and other varying opinions. At least, that's how it is in our world.
In the preferred reality, 2 plus 2 equals 5 and people who die never existed to begin with. The past is a mystery and completely dependent of the will of Big Brother. Objectivity is just as relative as subjectivity, I think. This is confusing. Can we move on? I feel my jaw grinding.
Of course. Finally, O'Brien is convinced that the proles will never revolt, while Winston believes they are the only hope for rebellion. Who is right?
Oh, finally. A question that lacks the moral ambiguity that the rest of this conversation has driven me mad with. O'Brien is clearly correct. In this situation, the proles are too content with the lives and freedoms they are given to care about revolting. It is the ideal situation from a position of leadership.
In this case, I'm inclined to agree with you. I can't help but feel that Winston is being overly optimistic here. Unless there is some outside force acting upon the stability of the lives of the proles, the law of inertia will keep them complacent. If I may ask one more question.
Oh, it seems that the sun is beginning to rise. I must return to my brethren and continue preparing for the holiday you mortals call Halloween.
I see. Well, thank you for coming, Skittles, and good luck with all that war business. Make sure to be home by curfew. I don't want you spooking the neighbors.
Goodbye, mortal.
Well, I guess that wraps up our time together. Overall, this book gets a 5 out of 10 for spooks. I will have nightmares for weeks about the, teeth pulling. As short as that segment was, it was potent. 8 out of 10 for existential dread. Overall, it is a must-read for young adults already questioning their existence and life choices, receiving an 8 out of 10. See you next week for another classic that is definitely more spooky in the way that everyone loves. Shocking.